This time on Outplayed, Errik drops his package, Lursen questions the pace of our gameplay, and Flave sings a song. Hey everybody, welcome back to Outplayed. My name is Flave.
And I'm Errik.
And I'm Lursen. And this week we are talking about everyone's favorite team player, Lifeline. But first, we really want to take this time to thank our Patreons. It is the first episode of this month, and we super appreciate your guys' continued support.
I'm buying a Ferrari.
Wait a second. I need to re-look at our Patreon account.
It's a Matchbox, but that's okay too. Actually, aren't we on track for trying to collect a little bit of money to up your sound game?
Yeah, I want to switch to a dynamic microphone, and for that I need gear. I have the microphone. I don't have the audio interface and the mixer.
So why don't you tell the listeners real quick why you want that, because I feel like it matters.
I want to sound good.
But you already
I want to go
good.
fast.
Now, we already sound good, but we're going to sound even better. And I think it has more to do with the ability to be able to mix it, mix all the sounds and stuff and take out extraneous noises and stuff. Am I right?
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot easier to edit, stuff like that.
Yeah, so we'll be able to punch this stuff out quicker, right?
Right. For everybody who is not sitting in my office right now, I'm inside a blanket fort recording this episode.
So, faster editing means we have more time for the other parts of our community, like the Discord and the ads and Flave songs. So we really appreciate your support, and we hope to use your money to provide you with a better service.
Absolutely. Hey, and one of the other things that we're doing is opening up a blog on our outplayed.com. And today, Archimedes dropped his first blog post, Why Battle Royales Saved the FPS Genre for Me. And that is an academic study of the psychological impact of FPS on the soul of Archimedes.
It's a pretty good, badass article. You should probably read it.
No, it's actually really, really good. Archimedes gets for reals about how FPS games can cause him to rage a little bit, and how somehow Battle Royales seem to have robbed him of that rage. So now
spoiler alert! God,
it's not a spoiler. He's awesome. It's a great read. I just want to, I'm just glad that he was able to write such a good article, because he puts the rest of us to shame as far as writing goes.
We're seriously not overselling this. I was expecting a lot out of Archimedes, and he blew it out of the water. It's really good, and he's going to keep on this train. So we're going to get way more posts out of him. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, he's a great asset.
Absolutely. And if you want to check out the blog, just go to outplayed.com, and then I think, /blog, right? It should be a link right there on the front page, right?
Yeah, you just click on the link, yeah.
All right, for this week's training room, we watched a video by a guy named Sir Spink.
Spink!
And, man, this guy, for 2 weeks straight, landed nothing but ship. And he compiled a video that you guys have got to watch. We're going to try to cover parts of it, but if you watch this video, it is insane what he goes into some serious depth here.
Yeah, we're going to hit the high points. So first off, since they increased the speed that the dropship flies at, he noticed that he can get to the dropship way faster, or not the dropship, the supply ship way faster if he, times the trajectory of the dropship and then just fly straight down, which I see a lot of people try to drop immediately and then, do the dive down, dive up, dive down. And he was getting to the ship 10 seconds before everybody else.
He was on the ship, completely looted, and just standing there waiting for them to fall. It was really good stuff.
It's kind of brutal. So, awesome sauce.
Another thing that he mentioned is, for getting onto a ship is, when the second ship comes, which is at the second circle, it'll spawn in, and, you can use balloons to jump up on top of the ship as it's starting to anchor. So once it starts its descent, it'll be low enough that some places there'll be a balloon close enough that you can get onto the ship. And I actually did that last night, and it was the first on the ship. I got gold armor and I think I got my attachment for my prowler, and by the time the other team got up there, they were getting mowed down.
You know what's funny about that is I don't remember really. I've seen the second ship when it's already moored, but I don't really ever see it moving, right? So I guess we're just using the balloons to get up on it after it's already moored. Is that right?
So yeah, the second ship actually spawns in the exact same location as the first, and it makes its same path. So
yeah, it's down at water treatment is where the ships spawn, and then they go to a random spot on the map. Well, it's not random; it's a set number of locations they can possibly go to, but it always spawns down by water treatment, and you can hit it before it actually moors, but when it's actually settled into the place it's going to go to, so you can't hit it in midair, like when it's still flying, but once it's trying to settle, you can hit it before it actually puts down its zip lines. And another thing I noticed is you can't put a Pathfinder zipline onto it until it is completely docked.
Yeah, I've been trying and I think it's official. You cannot attach a zipline to it.
No, yeah. So balloon seems to be the only way to get to it before it's actually docked.
And like we said, not every location has a balloon close enough, but if you look around, you might be able to get onto it.
And he does have a map in the video of pretty much all the places that a ship can possibly land. He did say it might not be comprehensive, but it looks comprehensive to me.
He also said that there isn't always a second ship, which I don't recall not having one, but I'm not looking for the ship. I'm looking to be away from the ship.
I was actually wondering if it's based on the number of squads left by the time the second circle hits. So if it's past a certain threshold, it just won't spawn. I don't know.
My thought was if the ship is using a random number generator to decide where it goes, maybe it's just choosing to go someplace the circle's already cut off, so it doesn't send a ship.
Yeah, that's possible too. Yeah, good thought.
So, so that's getting onto the ship, but once you're on the ship, where do you look for loot? According to him, the very top deck, there's a platform that kind of overlooks all the rest of the ship. That is the best place for the higher tier armor, and usually also has a gun. And the few times I've landed ship, I would tend to agree.
And then also beyond that, down inside the ship, basically where you would expect the controls to be, up that little set of stairs, there's typically either a Phoenix kit, purple or gold armor.
Yeah, it's actually directly under the platform we talked about before.
And I thought one of his best words of advice was to go for the armor first. So if you land yourself in an area where there is armor, just head straight for that. Because obviously everybody's going to be slappy hands, and anybody who's able to pick up a gun is going to be shooting it immediately. So if you're already armored up, hey, Yahtzee.
Yeah, worst case scenario, you have to jump off the ship, and, I mean, at least then you have armor.
So fighting on the ship, he pointed out this very awesome spot that's inside, but on the back of the ship, and it's where the set of steps goes down. There's a little half wall in between the sets of steps, and you can crouch down there and pop up, hit some faces, and then crouch back down. Absolutely fantastic. There were so many clips of him just wiping full squads that way.
You know, it looked like he was playing The Division. Like, he was using it like a cover shooter. He would crouch down, reload, pop up, take some shots. And then crouch, reload, pop up, take some shots. It looked like he was fighting AI in a cover shooter.
It really did. Yeah, he absolutely wrecked face there. I can't wait to actually try this.
So, right behind that half wall, then he showed us there's an exit that you can jump out the very back of the ship. On the left and right-hand side of that are some pipes that you can jump onto. It makes it look like you are jumping off the ship, but you're still on it. So people, like, run to the end of the platform, look down for you, and then they turn around. And then every single time he would jump back onto the ship and shoot them in the back of the head, and they were so confused. It was amazing.
Deliciously brutal. Yeah. Well, it was funny because last night I tried some of the little hidey holes as well, really before taking a look closely at his video. So right around the base of the large railgun that's on the top of the ship, there's a little kind of half wall right around the turret base, and that I thought was going to work out similarly, and it does not. So if you're tempted by that location, just go for the one that he points out. I think. I thought I might be able to hide away, but I mean, as soon as I jumped out, I still didn't have any equipment because we dropped a little late on the ship. But as soon as I jumped out, some Octane came running past and peacekeepered me.
Are you talking about the invisible wall that he mentioned?
No. I was talking about when you've got the right at the base of the large railgun.
He mentioned that spot, but what that spot is it's got an invisible wall around the railgun that people can't shoot you through. Which is really weird. Yeah. So that there's an invisible wall that goes all around it. They can't shoot you, but you can shoot out of this invisible wall. It's really crazy to watch. He has a clip of a guy trying to snipe him from a hilltop, and he's just sitting there dancing away, and the bullets are just like hitting this invisible wall in front of him, and they're making their splatter effect, and he's just dancing back and forth, and then he can shoot out, which is really, really even crazier.
That's kind of dirty, man.
Well, what you're looking for, it's a circular platform on the top deck of the ship, and once you're inside that circle, that's where the wall is. The limitations of this are you can't shoot outside the bounds of the ship itself. But if somebody is shooting you, it doesn't matter where it's from, as long as they're not inside that circle, it won't hit you. But you can kill people on the ship.
He even apologized in his video. He's like, guys, I don't generally go for this kind of kill, but I have to show you in the video how it works. He's like, I feel terrible.
Wow. Yeah. So I've also gone, when stuff goes south on top of that, or when it goes sour, when we drop down and we're a little bit late and everybody else has already picked up all the gear, I have done that thing where, you jump over, around the outside of the thrusters, and I've waited until everybody else, jumps off the ship, and then I go pick up whatever's left. I've done that maybe once or twice with some randoms. But those little hidey holes or that little, almost like platforms around the outside of the thrusters is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, it's a really good spot to hide. People assume that you've just jumped off the ship.
Exactly.
Another crazy thing that I never noticed that he pointed out is there are actual windows on the ship that go from deck to deck, and you can actually shoot down through these windows at the floor below.
Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
Those are my favorite kind of spots. I love the holes in the roofs, in the water, the river areas, the cascades, and I love the idea of shooting people through the window in the ship.
We're just glossing on the top of the surface here. It's a really in-depth video. So far, honestly, my favorite Apex YouTuber. And again, his name is Sir Spink. So just take a look at that. He's got a few other really good videos. He doesn't put out a ton because the videos that he does put out are just super in-depth.
Yeah, like we said, he spent 2 weeks jumping ship, and that got to be the most frustrating thing.
Well, he did say by the end of it, he took ship 9 out of 10 times he dropped on ship.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So for everybody's convenience, what I'll do is I'll throw the link to the video in the show description. I know if you're not checking out our show descriptions, we got a lot of links and stuff to helpful things in there. Plus, attributions for the music that we use sometimes and things like that. This time, you're going to be able to hit the link up for the video that we've just been talking about. This guy, great accent, great content, definitely dives deep into this stuff.
Yep. Just one more time. His name is Sir Spink. That's Spink. Sir Spink.
All right. We're going to take a break. We will be right back.
Lursen is a friend. Yeah, I know he's been a good friend of mine. But lately something's changed that ain't hard to define. Lursen's got himself a gun and I wanna make it mine. And he's extending it with that mag. He's stabilizing that barrel, I just know it. It's got purple stock and gold sight. Wish that I had Lursen's gun. I wish that I had Lursen's gun. Where can I find a weapon like that? I'll go along with all his plays. Poor bastard won't suspect a thing. But when it goes down, no, I won't get him up. I'm gonna loot his fucking box and he'll feel like such a chump. And I've extended it with that bag. I'm stabilizing that barrel, you best know it. It's got a purple stock and gold sight. Straight up show Lursen's gun. I straight up show Lursen's gun. That's how you get a weapon like that, like Lursen's gun. I straight up show Lursen's gun. That's how you get a weapon. That's how you get a weapon like that.
Oh, dude, gross. What is this skin? It's got shit hanging off of it. I can't use this. I'm switching to the alternator. We are back First off, we want to extend some thanks to the community for our main topic here. We asked for some feedback on Lifeline, who we are going to be covering, and we had really good back and forth from Gear Dad, Alex, Elmer, Loft Killer, Metal Mafia, and Synth.
Yeah, we really appreciate the feedback, guys.
Let's be honest, man.
It pretty much wrote our notes
off
for us. It was awesome.
Yeah, pretty much it lit off, and it was cool. It was excellent because some of the stuff that they were saying confirmed the things that we'd already been thinking about. So that's always nice to have a second data point, right? But again, if you guys want to join up with the Discord, you're going to have conversations like the one that we're having right now. Apparently, quite a bit because Discord lately has been just popping off.
Yeah, they killed my battery in my phone, but I'll take that as a win. I should probably just turn my notifications off, but that means I wouldn't get to, forget about work and Discord instead.
Yeah, right. So again, today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Lifeline. Isn't that what we'd be doing with all the characters? Deep dives?
Straight into Lifeline.
Straight into Lifeline. But as usual, we're not going to be doing the same thing where we're just going to, read off the abilities and then, because everybody's been playing for a while. We all know what her abilities are. We're going to dig a little bit into the specifics of it, but mostly we want to talk about how we've been using Lifeline. I in particular have been playing a lot of Lifeline lately, and somehow, some way, I have found my way into really liking her, probably above all the others, even above Bangalore for me.
Wow, that's some pretty high praise.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I was a little irritated by her voice lines there at the beginning, but I am totally down with them now.
I would just have to say, stop your whinging.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And play
awesome.
the damn character.
Yeah, she's freaking awesome, dude. It cracks me up. Mozambique, yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, perfect.
So she's the opposite of Pathfinder. Pathfinder, I loved his voice lines at the beginning, and now I'm like, shut the hell up. She's the opposite, where I'm like, yeah, she's kind of cool. Keep talking.
Yeah, it's totally cool. Keep it on. Hey, speaking of which, that short video, Flave, I did end up watching that short video from all of on all the voice actors. Good stuff, man. Respawn did a good job by posting that one up on Twitter.
Yeah, it's cool to see the faces behind the voices, and Gibraltar looks exactly like Gibraltar. Which is sweet.
I've seen him in other shows, and so it was like, it was awesome I didn't realize that was him. But then of course, once I saw his face, I'm like, of course it's him. Who else could it possibly be? So.
Yeah.
All right. Long tangent aside, let's get to her abilities.
Thank you, Lursen, for bringing it back around.
She has the passive ability to use her healing items 25% faster.
Her best ability.
Absolutely. Down. Hands fucking down. Absolutely.
I would disagree. I think it's her next passive, but let's talk about this one first.
Shut up, Lursen.
I will not. If I shut up, this is going to be a really boring podcast where you guys just talk without me.
Oh, God.
We did it for a year. We can do it again.
I don't know. I was on a few of those episodes.
Burn. Yeah. So anyhow, so one of the things that we were thinking was, using these healing items, use it in conjunction, this is a big word, man. Why'd you do this to me?
Conjunctivitis.
Using this in conjunction with your DOC drone. Anyhow, if you use this passive in conjunction with that, it's awesome. It's going to you can heal up a lot more quickly than anybody could possibly think that you were healing. Because you can do the same thing. You can pop your drone out and be healing at the same time that you're using a healing item. So.
Yeah, and when you're using your healing items, I always go for the syringes because it doesn't really make sense to use your drone with a full medi because you're going to heal up anyways, but your little drone will actually heal you for 5 HP per second. So if you pop a 25 syringe and then like 2 or 3 seconds, you're actually going to have pretty good health when they come around the corner.
I typically use it with shield cells because shield cells are the fastest. They hit my armor while the drone's hitting my health, and it's good stuff.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
That makes a lot of sense. I would agree with that.
All right. So moving right along to the res shield. Yeah. So I've been using this lately, not as awesome as this one video I saw where the guy would pop it, shift positions, pop it, and shift positions, as he was, he basically, this poor bastard was lying on the ground and he kept getting rezzed sort of partially multiple times. But I have done it in a couple of clutch situations in the last 3 or 4 days, and it's awesome. So of course, fast res, you can res somebody faster than anybody else, any of the other characters. And then while you're doing it, as we all know, the shield pops up. So
I think that faster resing is her best asset to a team. I think it's better than her faster healing. I think her ability to get her teammates back in the fight and doing damage, I think that is key to her teamwork abilities. Because I had one run around, I downed her 2 teammates. She got away from me. I went around a corner and I used a Phoenix kit. And by the time I came back around, both of her teammates were up and healed because she threw her drone out.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
I think the issue here is that you're playing with teammates that get downed. That's what you don't want to do.
Oh, I see.
Well, I mean, but if somebody is down, I have done it where, we've gotten into the room, closed the door behind, and then, we know that there are people outside, so I back up against the door and pop and then, set the shield up so it's going to take a quadrant of the room. So basically we're covered from anybody coming in behind us unless they, of course, blow the door up. But
you bastard. These guys have to listen to me complain about people holding the doors every fucking match. It is my least favorite thing about this entire game. I hate it.
Hey, I think I ought to be able to plaster my butt up against the door and nobody
I should be able to pull the door open. They open both ways.
Oh, well.
Exactly.
I should open that door, you should fall on your ass backwards, and I should kick you in the face.
Hey, man, I use the game that we got, not the game that we wish we had, man. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, man.
No,
the number of times I've gotten somebody absolute, and then they just run through a door and sit there and heal, and I'm kicking the door. It's so mad. And then their teammate comes up behind me because it takes me too long to get to them.
Yeah, I mean, you can destroy the door. I mean, obviously, but yeah. So the big thing about this, though, obviously, is since she's got the res shield and she can do it faster than anybody else, clearly the medic should be the one to do the rezzing, right? Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, unless she has to run across the map to do it, she should definitely be the one to pick people up.
I mean, it depends on situations. There's a lot of other things that you need to take into account when picking somebody up. The person who has the least amount of health probably should be healing up instead of rezzing somebody. So that depends. It also depends if you're early game and maybe one of you is out of ammo. That person needs to be doing the rezzing while the person with ammo is doing the fighting. So it's all situational. Like everything else we say in the show, it's all situational.
It's all BS. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't know why we're talking.
Oh, no. But hey, speaking of why we're talking, some of the guys in the community pointed out they had a couple questions for us. So let's talk Elmer Fudd's first. He made a comment that he likes to use the reviving sound and giant green shield as a siren call to bring unsuspecting sailors to your peacekeeper. Okay, first.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. We've kind of gotten trained that when you hear that drone or you hear that res shield popping up that you push. A smart player is doing that intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to run into this all the time. It really is a certain tier of player that's going to use this tactic, but it's a really good one.
And it's the tier of player that we should all aspire to. So thank you, Elmer Fudd, for that comment, buddy.
It's similar to what I did the other night. One of my teammates was really hurt, and he was crouched behind a wall, and the enemy team was pushing him, and he could not heal. So I grappled to the other side of town and just started firing my gun in the air, and they turned and started running towards me. So my teammate had time to heal up and get back into the fight while they chased me around with my grapple.
Wow, okay. So we'll save that one for the Pathfinder episode, but that's awesome.
I mean, that Pathfinder episode's going to be 2 hours, 3 hours long.
Yeah, you guys love that.
There's so many things.
Yeah, so much things. All right, let's back to Lifeline though. Hey, for that res shield, Loftkilla in our Discord community said he was interested in figuring out when you should use Lifeline's revive shield in the combat shield situations a lot more effectively, and then basically knowing when to res and when not to, right? So, what do you guys think?
I mean, it's all about that audio. Listen for the footsteps. Know what's going on around you. You just have to really get that game sense higher and understand. I mean, I kind of have this gut feeling. If I start a res, I know if it's going to actually complete or not based on the gut feeling I have of, I shouldn't be doing this.
Right. That gut feeling is the result of many hours of being shot in the face or shot in the back, right? While resing somebody.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one of the things to watch out for when you're doing that res is if you're in an open situation, for instance, if you're not in a room, I have pitched grenades up over top of the Lifeline shield and knocked people as a result. Because, obviously whoever she gets up is going to be pretty damned low health because you don't revive with full health. And then, if she's already got damage, I don't know. It seems like you got to be very cognizant of where you're doing the res. And if you can, call out to your teammate or at least ping for your teammate to shift positions into an area where you can make maximum use of that shield.
Yeah, or if you're downed, just kind of keep in your head, if somebody goes for a res here on me, is it going to be out in the open? If the answer is yes, then get somewhere else.
Get somewhere else, exactly. Or, even at some point, don't get all pingy with the enemy and get all frustrated when somebody doesn't come and res you immediately, right? Especially not if you've got a lifeline above you, be patient. Maybe she's concentrating on something else until she knows that it's safe, right? She's got a little bit more mobility than you do when you're downed. So just be polite to your lifeline. That's all I'm saying.
All right. So she's got another ability. It is the healing drone. So it's called the Dock, and it has a 60-second cooldown. But like I said earlier, it heals for 5 HP, and it lasts for about 20 seconds.
So, if you're a medic and you're only healing yourself, you're a D-bag.
Yeah, you suck.
So don't do that. So call out before you're going to use it, basically. I have used it behind, it's a little hard to use it in the middle of a fight, but if you're trading aggro, in other words, you're switching out aggro, if you're throwing lead down range, and then you dip out because you're getting hurt, have that healing drone set up right there so that people can start healing up. That way they can pop their shields or a shield cell real quick, and you're still hitting them with the heals, right? It's got quite a bit of range, but I wouldn't want to basically have the umbilical attached to somebody who's in an active gunfight.
Yeah, it's got a lot of range, and you can actually push it around. It takes up space, so it has physics to it, and you can push it around if you need to.
Back to the using her abilities as a distraction. If you're using the shield, the only way that works is they run to the sound and you're still there. But with the dock, you can drop it and run to a different vantage point. And if they run to your dock, then you've got the jump on them. So you can use it even when you don't want to heal.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. Yeah, it is a good point. I want to go back to what we said a little bit about pushing that drone around, though. I've used it a lot of times with the team when we're in the middle of all, because sometimes we run into all these loot boxes, right? They're just all over the place. Death boxes are everywhere. So I've pushed the drone around with us as we were looting. So that way you're still getting the heals as you go. So try considering that as well.
It does have a set number of HP it can heal too, so I like to push it away from Archimedes so that I get more heals than him.
And as a lifeline, I'll dip out because I know I can heal up. I'll dip out before I get healed up to max, right? And I'll.
Well, that's just you being the kind of guy you are.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody should be. If you're a fucking medic, be a medic, man. So, hey, but the other thing is, let's see, about a week and a half or so ago, I think it was, a couple of guys was with me. I think it was Alex and Metal and I were we could not seem to get ahead of the storm at all. And so that drone was clutch a couple times. I think Alex died once to the storm because we'd gotten in the middle of a gunfight and he was down real low. And it was kind of mid-game, so the storm was pretty intense. So I revived him real quick while I was still taking damage, and then we popped the drone and then kind of pushed it along a little bit while we were still trying to chase the boundary of the circle. So and we were able to survive. That was a hell of a game. Whew.
Yeah, healing in the storm is really good. That's kind of where a lot of the top players who Lone Wolf, I know we said in our last episode that it's not a good idea, but the few that can like her because she can heal in the storm while they try to flank people.
And so, and speaking of being kind of top tierish, I'm not anywhere close to top tierish, but I did have a moment of victory. Last night, I heard Lifeline's drone going off and I saw the glow from it. Even though I was on the inside of the building, the glow will go through walls. That's a bit of a glitch, but whatever. And I ran around the corner while she was still healing, shot her, threw my own drone out, and was healing up with my drone and her drone at the same time. I went to max freaking quick.
That's really, really good. When we were talking about the using their healing drone in a fight, if you see an enemy team using their healing drone, you can destroy it with gunfire.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Target that thing. If it's out there just drifting around, yeah, shoot the shit out of it.
All right, so her next ability is her ult ability, which is Supply Drop. It has a 360-second cooldown, but you can just shove those ult boosters down her throat. So pretty much every single ult boost you see, ping it, and hopefully that Lifeline's paying attention, and she'll get that sweet, sweet drop, because it can have that purple armor in it. I was talking with Archimedes last night, and if we see a Lifeline running around past the second circle, we're just going to assume she has purple armor on, because they can drop it so quickly for themselves. They can drop it for their teammates. And having purple armor is such an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it almost sounds like it's a useful ultimate. I of all of her kit, I think this is the least useful, and especially even into the mid to late game. I think early game, it is cool, but you still get that cooldown, right, at the very beginning. So if you're not getting fed a constant supply, like three accelerants, then, I mean, it's going to take a long time. So I'm of all of her kit, I don't like the supply draw much at all.
I mean, it's possible that it's something like a Bangalore Super where we're just not using it right. So if you're dropping it with the only thought of we're going to drop this and get good stuff out of it, then maybe it's not a great ult, but you can use it for other things. Like, you can use it to bait other squads to come to where you want them to come. Because I know when I hear a Lifeline package falling and it's close by, I'm going to just sprint at it. And if they're not really caring about the loot and they just want to shoot the people coming, then that's a pretty good piece of kit.
Well, your comment there brings up something that Metal Mafia brought up in the Discord. He says, basically, does that even serve as a distraction? I mean, has it worked?
I mean, I wasn't really saying distraction. I'm saying bait.
Oh, you're saying bait. I see. Okay. All right. See, I was thinking distraction in terms of, setting up the kill box and having them come into it, right? You want to draw them in towards you. So that, in other words, it's distracting them from paying attention to their surroundings. So interesting. Huh. I have found that it does draw, obviously it draws attention, right? Cause, you can see it all over the entire map. But at the same time, I feel like early game, back when the game first started, it was pretty significant, for folks to draw in. I don't see a lot of people charging for it anymore. I know we don't really necessarily charge for it, right?
I mean, I do.
You do? Okay.
But I'm a much more aggressive player than you are. For better or worse, I find myself in really bad situations because I'm pushing too fast.
Huh.
But
okay.
I am a much more aggressive style of play.
At the very least, it's information, right? Even if you don't push that Lifeline package, you know that there's a squad there. If it's late game, then you can, let's say 4 squads, you can eliminate, hey, I know where this squad is, where the other one's at. It's just, like we said before, the more information you have, the better armed you are to take on the rest of the squads.
Yeah, that's true. And, I have found us using it, in confined locations as cover as well. It's good for makeshift cover, but it's also good for just, basically being able to block off a corridor. Although, if you're in and around it, other folks can use it as cover as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you're intentionally dropping it in the middle of a fight just to sort of use it right now. I think, Flave, you do that all the time, right? You just drop it in the middle of a fight or right before a fight just to have it.
Yeah, well, the big thing about this ultimate is I hear all the time, should I drop this or will it draw too much attention? If you drop it with firefight going on, that's not a concern. You're already popping off guns.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I always drop it behind cover anyway, right? I'm not going to throw it out in the middle of the open because that's going to just cause problems. Even if you have a Bangalore or somebody who can, provide smoke cover for you, that's not going to work. I drop it in between buildings. The only thing you need to have is a clear vertical sight line. That's all you got to worry about. So in other words, you can't drop it over by Thunderdome. Pretty much every area is off limits there.
We dropped it on top of Errik and I dropped it on top of Overwatch the other day, towards the back of Overwatch, because it's much harder to get over there, and then it's easily defendable. And if you remember, that team, they were up on a hill, and they pushed us as soon as it hit the ground. So again, we didn't necessarily bait them into it, but we had a position of advantage, and when they pushed in, we annihilated them, because the Octane really stimmed himself almost to death to get there.
That was a beautiful strategy, and that was a case where I definitely was using using it as cover in addition to all of, I don't know what those are, HVAC generators or something on top of there. I have no idea what those things are, but anyhow, in amongst all of that was this supply drop, and playing in and out of that. I had a G7 Scout that night too. Owned. That was pretty good.
So we have another comment from Alex, which is when I find an unopened box, I open it, and then I circle and move so that I'm never Krabered in the head.
Yeah. Absolutely
smart.
Dude.
Yeah, pretty smart.
Yeah.
You want 280 spam quite a lot and duck and jump, and you don't want to get shot while you're looting. Or I've been stuck with grenades, and that sucks.
Yeah. And I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. If you've got a box out in the open of any sort, death box, whatever, you should be doing a little bit of movement. You don't have to do a lot of movement, but you should be enough that you're not going to be just sort of, barely dancing 6 inches away from where the Kraber bullet was going to go.
Well, Flave and I talked about it the other day. On PC, when you're opening up death boxes, you can actually move back and forth while you go through your inventory.
Right.
Which is really good. You can't really do that on Xbox.
No, it's super...
You can't do that at all.
You can't.
It blocks you completely.
Yep.
So that kind of sucks. I did find that when you are using the revive stations, you can crouch and stand up. That's about as far as you can go.
That's about it, yeah.
But that at least makes it harder to hit a headshot.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're sorely hampered by that, but so I've gotten in the habit when I'm looting the box. It's not so much of a thing with Lifeline supply drop, obviously, because it's just one object, right? But I will dip in and out of the box a couple times if it's got gear that I know it's decent and I can't spam it into my inventory quickly enough. I'll dip in and out of the inventory and take quick peeks at what's going on outside in the real world.
So now I think we're gonna move on to a question from the Metal Mafia. When is the best time to use it for loot? Only the early game? The late game? Is that too much of a risk? Or are they perfect because the teams will ignore them, thinking they're distractions? So when is it the best time to use them mainly for loot?
Definitely early game, clearly, right?
I mean, I don't know. I've been late game and we still have guys wearing white armor. So, I mean, until you guys have purple armor, keep dropping them as quickly as you can, in my opinion.
Sure.
I think it's more likely that you're going to need it early game. You can still drop it late game. Let's say a scenario where there's 3 squads left, your squad included. If they're in a fight, sure, drop it. They're probably not paying attention. But in that situation, we should probably be pushing anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, it takes 15 seconds from the time you call it to the time it hits the ground. And that's too long to wait to push a fight that's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like Alex Ventress replied to Metal in the Discord, if you're already full on with purple gear and you got your kit, your loadout, and everything you want, and you don't need like an extra battery or something, there's just not much of an incentive to drop it, particularly if you're in a position where it's going to just give you away. Maybe hold on to it. Don't do it.
So that is very true. The most important thing you pull out of there is armor, but I really need purple mags and stabilizers and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So if you can drop them, do so, but don't risk it if you all have purple armor.
Dude, the only thing you're going to get out of it when it's the package that I drop, which just never sounds right either. But if it's my supply drop, you're only going to get a 4x8 scope out of it. I swear to God, every single one I drop has a fucking 4x8.
When Errik drops his package, there's disappointment all around. All right, one more from Metal. He says, you could, when you drop that package, Errik, you could look into the hop up you need or the purple extended mag, like we said. He also mentioned that he doesn't think that he's ever come across an unopened Lifeline package from another team. How would your team react to that? Would you think it's a trap or just a distraction? Someone dropped it as they were running away?
That's a good question. I have encountered unopened Lifeline supply drops maybe once or twice. Once after we wiped the team, so clearly they didn't have a chance to get their own drop, right? We already killed them all. And then once just completely random. And it was a little bit, I had a lot of trepidation coming in on it. I was like sneaking up on it, because it seemed like it was going to be a trap.
I should probably know the answer to this, but how can you tell the difference between an unopened supply drop and an unopened Lifeline package?
Lifeline has
different colors.
How have I played this game for 100 hours and not noticed that they are different colors?
You've played way more than 100 hours.
Shut up. No, I haven't. I played 12 hours of this game.
No, but there are different colors, so that's easy to tell from a distance, but they're also, the Lifeline drops have a red cross on them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. I should probably play more Lifeline, and I should probably pay better attention to the things around me.
Speaking of weird situations like that, we've been dropping into weirdness lately to where we'll go into an area, like a big area, artillery, runoff, all the doors are open and none of the loot is taken.
Yo, that's been spooky, dude. Spooky.
Yeah, it's been weird.
Like, is this what happened to the people on Roanoke?
There was a thing in PUBG where people would know whether or not someone has been to a town by which direction the cars were facing, because all of the cars, when they spawned in, all faced north. So the developers of the game randomly made the cars point different directions. I think that the developers of this game should just have some doors that spawn open.
That's
I mean,
dirty,
maybe.
dude. What? Why? Just to fuck with us?
Yup.
Oh, man. I mean, come on.
I mean, also, this game isn't as tactical as PUBG, right? Like, we see open doors and we don't give a shit. We just go there anyway.
That's
it's
true.
not like it deters us.
Well, right. We say doors have opened, so we just think that somebody's been there already. But like you said, Flave, lately, that's not panned out. You know, there's lots of good loot just still lying around.
Yeah, I don't know. It creeps the fuck out of me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of how would your team react to that? I think, obviously, clearly we, you know, it almost feels like it's a trap. It just feels like a trap, right?
Yeah, I would definitely go, Wraith Portal to it or, Zipline to it. I would try, or Bangalore Smoke. I would definitely be wary and try to have an escape route planned because shit's gonna hit the fan. Send one person out to loot it.
Right.
Use them.
Yeah, we'll smoke it and, you know, let somebody go in on it. If you really want to get it at all, though. Now, I have thought about trying to establish kill boxes that way by dropping it and then just, you know, basically trying to ambush somebody. But I found that the pace of this game is not really conducive to setting up long ambushes like that, right? I mean, we're not deer hunting. You know, so like getting back to your comment about this game not being nearly as tactical as PUBG, Flav, I think you're right. Ordinarily, we might be able to use them as actual bait like that and just leave it unopened and people would be like, wait, what? But I don't think that the speed of this game is, it's just not a good match for that kind of tactic.
I think that we've kind of, changed the speed of the game for ourselves. I've been kind of thinking about this. So all of our favorite drop locations are, the slums, water treatment, and, runoff. They're all on the outside edge of the map. And because we're always on the outside edge, unless the circle is directly on us, we have a lot of running to do. So we have to move quickly. If we drop more central, then we'll have much more time to do whatever the fuck we want because we're not going to be running from the circle.
Dude, you just blew my mind. So you're saying it's not the pace of the game, it's the pace of our gameplay?
Yeah, it's because we're running so often and moving from the circle to circle. If we drop more central, we'll have more time to play because we won't be forced to move.
Huh. I want to try that out, man. Can we start doing that?
No, because Cascades are in the middle of the map. I don't want to go to that stupid location.
Well, we can go market. I mean, seriously, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we can go market, and from market we can take caves pretty much anywhere we want to go.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we can start. Well, let's just do it as an experiment or science. I mean, you know, Cascades does suck. There's no loot there. And
you know, when you say science, I can't say no.
All right. Well, I'm going into this with bias, so just know that.
Come on, baby. It's for science.
Oh, wait a minute.
So we have one more comment from one of our community members, Synth. He's just talking about wanting to use it as a cover or as he's running away or to like block a doorway. He says he hasn't tried it yet, and I don't know if you can actually drop a package close enough to a building to block the door.
I don't think so. I think that's part of the restricted zone.
I think so too.
But again, we haven't intentionally tried to block a door with it. But I don't think it's a thing.
Also, like I said, it takes 15 seconds from the time you call it for it to actually hit the ground. So they would have to be pretty far behind you, to make that your tactic. Or you'd have to really plan ahead.
Well, yeah, true. But at the same time, I think Synth's point is somewhat solid. Even if it's not right on top of the door such that the door can't shut or can't open. I think if it's just right outside the door, if you pop the door open and drop the supply drop right in front of the door.
You were going to say package. I was about to say
package. You totally called me on it. But yeah, if you drop it right outside there so that it's just far enough away, so that it obviously clearly you can still drop it. But it's just far enough away to provide cover as you transition from the doorway, which is obviously a fatal funnel, right? Transition from the doorway and across the space. I think that it's very situational and very niche, but I think it could work out.
It's definitely something to keep in your back pocket. Maybe it'll be useful, maybe it won't, but it's a good thought, and I liked how he's thinking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I do too. Well, so one last point about these supply drops, right? They have, if you notice, the way all supply drops are constructed, they have 3 sides.
Wait a second, I have 3 people on my squad.
So if I'm counting on my fingers, 3 sides and 3 people makes 6. No, wait. No, that means 1 per side. apart from all that bullshit, we've got something that we use in our little squad here, is that the Lifeline gets first pick of the loot. And that just seems like a common courtesy.
If she wants all of it, she gets all of it.
See, and that just doesn't make much sense to me. I actually am not really on board with this whole notion, but I like that you guys always let me have the purple armor, but you know.
No, man, Lifeline calls the package in. She has to eat all of the ult boost. She gets first pick of the loot. I do this with blueberries. I will stand back and I will let them pick. The only person I will steal loot from is Archimedes. That's just my rule.
Oh, we love you.
Yeah,
Ark.
I think this whole etiquette thing works out because, you know, if she gets the purple armor, maybe she's dropping blue and I've got white. I at least get an upgrade. Same thing with stocks, everything. It's like Lursen said, it's her package. It's her ult. She should get first pick.
And it makes things so much better because there's not three people standing there. No, you take it. No, you take it. Hey, you take it. And then they all get shot in the face because they're standing still arguing over who's going to take the good loot.
Well, and that's a good point. So, but apart from that, the only reason that I've allowed it to kind of carry on is because I figure it this way: if there is purple armor in there, and I get the purple armor, I'm the guy that's got the best capability for reviving and healing folks, right? So, seems like I should probably be the one to be able to take the most, have the most armor, you know, if anything. So I've kind of sold it that way for me. That way, maybe I can take a little bit more damage than everybody else. Plus, I don't have an escape route like many of the other characters have.
So tell your friends, tell everybody you know, spam it on Discords everywhere that Lifeline gets first pick of loot from here on forth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the next thing we usually talk about now when we are doing these breakdowns is who they pair with. But she pairs with anybody who needs armor and loot, which I'm looking real quick, and that that applies to everyone.
Well, and you know, anybody who could do with a faster revive, or anybody who could do with a little bit of heals. So I think everybody. She's just a good all-around support character, you know?
She is. She's got a smaller hitbox. She's definitely on the lower end of the scale, so she can be aggressive as well. You mentioned it earlier, she doesn't have necessarily a way to get away, which kind of sucks, but everything else is in her favor.
Exactly.
Yeah, speaking of things being in her favor, Elmer Fudd says, how can I seem to jump kick people in the face a little bit better when I play Lifeline? It's because she's a badass chick.
I gotta say that I love jump kicking with her. I don't know why, but I do. I really do. I think it's because she's so sort of like bottom heavy or something. I have no idea what's going on there. But she's got these big old. She's got these big old boots that fly out there.
Boots.
It's the boots.
Well, and she kind of does like a hi-ya sort of like, and I think it's just it's fucking cool, dude. That's all I'm saying.
Keep trying to sell it.
Go ahead. I mean, she's agile, but not so agile like Wraith, which she's like kicking you with like these tiny little bird legs.
Yeah. Oh my god. All right.
I think we'll end it on AKA Gear Dad's little request. How can I be expected to heal my teammates as Lifeline when I'm always knocked down? Well, the only thing I could come up with is carry a lot of really good healing items in your box, and then they can just loot it when you're dead. So that pretty much wraps our Lifeline discussion up, guys. So let's take one last break, and we'll end it there.
HHA, known as Lifeline in the Apex games, was born on Samoth just after the supposed end to the Frontier Wars. Daughter to a family of wealthy war profiteers, AJ rebelled when she learned of the pain and loss her family had caused over the centuries of the conflict. Her rebellion led her to enlist in the Frontier Corps, a humanitarian organization that aids frontier communities in need. Since then, she has devoted her life to helping others to atone for her family's legacy. But on the frontier worlds, charitable money can be hard to come by. And yet, blood sport entertainment is everywhere. Realizing this, AJ joined the Apex Games. Publicly, AJ has said that she will fund the Frontier Corps with her winnings. Since no one in the games is innocent, and every competitor knows what they have signed up for, AJ, now Lifeline, has claimed that every one of her victories means help for those in need. Whatever AJ's past discomfort with violence and loss brought about by her family, Lifeline has no problem engaging in the popular blood sport. Or so she seems to tell herself. Interviews with this outwardly sarcastic and callous Apex Games competitor have caught flashes of a deeply compassionate and charitable person. It is as if the veneer of Lifeline strips away to reveal AJ, always ready to help people and make the world a better place. But then Lifeline comes back. If helping people means taking a few competitors down in the process, so be it. That's the Apex Games.
Alright, this has been a BOD Community Podcast. My name is Flave.
And I'm Errik.
And I'm Lursen. If you like what you hear and let us know, you can always find us on outplayed.com. There's no E in Outplayed.
Our music is by Fugly88. Hey guys, keep improving. So you said there's no E in Outplayed, but you spelled Outplayed with an E.
I did not do that. That is Errik.